Hello guys, welcome to dingpongcrate, and today I'm doing a little bit unordinary video, and I want to show you guys my personal life, and I want to introduce to you my mom. She's a little bit different mom than you guys have mom, and I'm so dying to show it to you. And so let's get right into it, and then let me introduce to you my mom to you now. Are you guys excited to see my mom? Okay, there she is right here. This is my mom right here. I do look like her, guys, right? I hope so. Okay, I want to give her a hug first. Okay, and this is the woman I always have admired, and she's precious to me. And without her help, I would be still in Korea. Just who knows what I've been doing or what. But because of her, I became a part of her family and be able to be part of the family of Johnsons. Okay, so today's video is going to be her side of the story, doing an interview, and I want to tell her side of the story to you guys because to me it's very important, and it might be important for you guys as well. And so, without saying any words, let's get into the interview right now. Hi, Mom. How you feeling?
Hi. Great.
Are you all relaxed and just ready to do this?
I'm just ready to do this.
Okay, great. And so let's get right into it. So the first question is going to be why adoption and why Korean babies?
Why adoption? Because I had 9 miscarriages, and so we wanted more family. And then why babies? At the time in Korea, there were only babies to adopt. Yours was a different case. And we sponsored you in a study group that we were in. And then we went through a special, we had a bill passed through Congress to get you here because you could already adopt only 2 Koreans. That was Korea's law. And then, so we had to overcome a lot of trials to get you here.
Okay, so now you have a Korean 2 babies you brought, which became my sisters now.
Yes.
And would you tell me the story about them?
Well,
Misha and Tara.
Misha, we adopted her first. We wanted a girl because we already had 2 boys. So we got a girl first. She was easy. I think 5 months after we applied, then we got her. And girls were easier for Koreans to give up. They wanted the men for the soldiers, I guess. And so it was harder to get boys. And so she was very easy. Then 18 months later, we got her sister, who is not her real sister, but she came, and that was Tara.
So when I remember is when I lived in Korea in Busan, that I lived in an orphanage, and it was just the orphanage was not in great condition. It was just a lot of lack of resource, and basically I was in a survival mode. And then I think around the age of 7. I had to start writing a letter to America. For what reason, I have no idea. They just told me to write a letter. And writing in Korean, it's just fine. In Seoul, they can translate it, and by the time you receive it, you're just written on in English. And I guess during that time, or maybe earlier for you, you might have a study group.
Yes, we had a study group, and we sponsored you. We could sponsor a Korean child, and so we chose you. And I think the letters they had you write, they were sent to us as though you were writing to us.
Okay.
and we sent you gifts and Christmas and whatever. And I think you said that you had to share with other people in the orphanage because not everyone had a sponsor that would send them presents.
Right. So that the way I remember is that I think I've been exchanging the letters between you and some mom and dad for I think for 4 years. I think. When did you start study the group and processing of me sponsoring me in what year and age? I can't remember.
You were probably only about five years old.
Okay.
And we sponsored you until you came here.
Okay.
So you were about 5-6 years that we sponsored you, and then we applied for your adoption, and that took 2 or 3 years, and it was a long, drawn-out process
Okay.
to get you here in this country.
And I heard that with the study group that you guys all trying to support me to come over, having me coming over sooner, and that didn't work. And there was a lot of red tapes that was going on, and you guys been fasting a lot of times and things like that. But as a study group, you also have to involve with senators to overcome for having me coming over here, which prevented me coming over because of the law was in the way.
Yeah, the Korean law said that we could only have 2 adoptions from overseas, and we already had the girls, so we had used up. It passed in the House. We had to have a Senator Garn handle the adoption, and he did all he could do, and it passed through the Senate, but it didn't pass in the House because they figured they had passed the House bill before that people could have 2 adoptions, and they thought that was plenty. So we had to fight to get you here. I was on the phone every Monday morning with the senators. I don't know what you call him. Anyway, he would call me every Monday, and we would talk about your adoption and how we could work it out. We had sent letters to the President of the United States, and the last, well, I don't know if you're going to get into that, but we sent a letter to the President of the Immigration and Naturalization Society, whatever, and that's where we had our final answer.
Yeah, and I feel like I felt so grateful because as a study group and stuff, you guys sent me the money and stuff, and I was really sad because I got the money and some toys, things like that, and I had a picture taken, and once the picture was taken, and then all the toys and money that I was getting from America, it just disappeared on me, and I would just feel so sad about that.
That's too bad because we wrapped everything and we came together and did all that, and we thought that you were going to get all the advantage of that and that everything would come to you. We didn't know how the orphanage worked.
Yeah, I want to ask you a personal question. There were so many orphanage kids, boys and girls over there.
Yeah.
And I believe there's 80 kids, and you were able to pick me, and I'm curious how you were able to pick me, because I was just, out of all those kids.
Well, we didn't pick you out before you were in the orphanage. Well, I guess they selected who we'd have.
Okay.
We asked for a boy, a young boy, and that's how they gave us you.
Okay. But I guess, as far as I could remember, is that I was just the youngest, 5 years old. And many of the older kids were older, but I'm just grateful that you were able to pick me because here I am, I'm here.
Yeah, because if you weren't chosen, you would, when boys were 12, they left the orphanage and they were just stealing and robbing and whatever on the street. And that's what would have happened to you.
Yeah, I've been told that if you reach the age of 14, then you weren't able to stay orphanage anymore.
I think 12 is what they told us.
Oh, is that really
12 years old.
And I was really close to that age then.
Yes.
And
that's what happened. I'm trying to think. They picked you out for us to sponsor, and hopefully someone in the study group was going to adopt you.
Okay.
Because we had run the gamut and there was no way that we could do it. Then, so that's what we did in the study group. A lot of the women wanted to adopt you, but their husbands did not. So it was left to us, and that's when we contacted Senator Garn, and that's when we had to write, 15 or so letters to everybody that was in charge. And so it was very difficult to get you here. They couldn't send you on a regular visa. You had to come on a parole visa, what they call the parole visa. I don't still know what that was exactly, except that we had to go through a lot of stuff, even while you were here, legal stuff to get you adopted. And so it took a year or so, almost 2 years to have all the paperwork ready for you.
So before I was coming over to America, which I didn't know I was coming to America because they put me out of the school, everything was just happening so fast. But one thing for sure I do remember is that I had to stay with the Korean family for 2 weeks. And I didn't understand why I was staying there. And they told me, you're getting trained to how to live with family. Because before, I did not live with the family. No. I was just all by myself. No mom and dad, no brothers and sisters, any family at all. So it's like, is this a school that I have to go to stay with the family for 2 weeks to learn? And so I thought that was really weird. And the question I want to ask you is, when I came over to US and you guys saw me in the airport, and I remember you were sobbing, you were crying. Mm-hmm. And I do remember that so well. And in my mind, why this lady is crying? Why is she looking at me so funny? And she's got blue eyes and she got blonde hair, long pointy nose, which I never seen American person in my life. And it shocked me in so many ways because everything was happening so fast. And there's no time for me to just hang on to grasp everything, trying to understand them all. And then I remember Dad was just putting a hand around next to you and just have a joy of smile. And I remember Scott and I'm not sure if Misha and Tara was there in the airport.
Well, they were in the Salt Lake airport.
Okay,
we went to San Diego.
Oh, okay, that's how it
LA
happened. Okay,
to
so there was the three of you then, right? Okay.
No, there was only two of us.
Oh, 2 of us. Okay.
My husband and myself.
Okay. So I do remember that part where I was just the escort lady standing next to me, and I was sitting there, and everybody's busy walking, and just 2 of you then was staring, and when I was looking and go, why are they staring at me? And I was so nervous. And tell me in that part what you felt when you saw me come and landed in the airport, and just first time seeing me, and just describe about the feeling that you had.
Well, we had gone through, hell and back to get you.
Okay.
And so we could hardly believe that you were actually coming. And the reason that it seemed fast to you, because it was fast. It was fast for us.
Yeah, it really was.
Because what happened is the Commissioner of Naturalization turned down the adoption letter. And he never changes his mind. That was as far as we could go. And the guy, so in our study group, it was Fast Sunday that Sunday, and we were fasting and praying that they would let you come. And the answer was no. And I didn't even go to church that day. I was so angry and upset, and my husband still fasted, and my siblings and they said, don't give up. But they had already told us, no, there's no way you can come. So this guy asked for the President Garn's, I can't remember his name. Anyway, he was his person that did everything for him. And he called me on that Monday morning, and he asked me if I could, if I would approve of his sitting there in the office of that guy, that commissioner, until he would see him. And if it took all day, he said that he might lose his job, and it had never been done before. So he sat there all day, and at 6 o'clock, this guy, the commissioner, was leaving. He was putting on his coat. It was raining in Washington that day, and he couldn't believe this guy had waited in his office all day long. He said, I don't change my mind. I will never change my mind, so you're wasting your time. But he persisted and stayed there all day. So when the commissioner came out, he was shocked to see the guy still there, could lose his job. And he said, well, okay, I'll look at the file one more time. We had to get fingerprints and all kinds of things to get you here. And so anyway, he opened your file. He took a look at it, the papers and all the letters, and he changed his mind. And that's why it would seem fast, because at that point, they had to get you ready to come. And so they felt like that you needed to have some information about living with a family. That's why you were sent wherever you were.
Yeah.
To learn about family life. And I'm sure it was so crazy for you. I don't know what they explained, how deep they explained it to you, but when you walked off that plane, all those emotions came rushing forward. And since I had been the one to talk to the Senator Garn and do all the work and whatever, I just fell apart. It was finally happening. We had no idea that it was real. And to see you walk off that plane was so exciting for us. I was emotional. My husband was just very excited.
So in the airport, I remember you were overjoyed, smiling and just crying at the same time. And I remember you were just coming approach to me, and you just snugged me so tight. And I'm just going through and go, what is happening? And I can see why adoption, everything is happening so fast. But what was it feel like for you at the moment you just grabbed and hang on tight on me? What was it like?
Well, it was very emotional, and I couldn't really believe that we finally had you here. And it took about 5 years to finally get the adoption. And I had never been through that before. I read a book prior to your adoption by Margie Margolis. She was later was a U.S. senator, and she adopted the first Korean child and the first Japanese child as a single parent. She had never been married. And at the end of her book, it said, if you have a righteous project and you are feeling very strongly about it, go for it. Do whatever it takes, and you can have that happen. And I remember reading that, and so that was the beginning of the adoption, and it took 4 or 5 years, 6 years even, every Monday to talk to Senator Garn's person, and it was a lot of, so when you walked off that plane, I was just overwhelmed.
Now that was the game is over, right?
Yeah.
So, and I want to ask you a funny question. It is that when I got off from airport in Salt Lake, and you guys did not pick me up on a normal car. You guys picked me up in a just motorhome, which I never seen in my life. Seriously, guys, I never seen a motorhome in my life. I mean, this motorhome had a steering wheel, it had a brake pedal, and a gas pedal. And I was thinking in my mind, why in the world this house has a driving vehicle, the house can move? So I just want to ask you, why did you guys pick me up on a motorhome before?
Because our car was in the garage and being fixed. So that's the only thing we had for mode of transportation.
I tell you what, I thought, I was just amazed. Wow, this house can move. New transportation method. And you just have to imagine, guys, being at 12 years old, never seen America, never seen a house, anything like that. You just have to, coming from my point of view in my shoes, to understand the whole thing. So hopefully you guys got that.
Yeah, it must have been very difficult for you to understand what was happening.
Yeah, it's just a mind-blowing that, you guys got me.
And then when your brother, Misha and all of your siblings came to the airport, Scott put his arm around you, and he was taller than you. You were very short. And so he treated you kind of like little brother. And I know it was hard for you.
So what are the funniest thing I ever done that you can remember, which I have few little memories, but what the funniest things I ever done while I'm trying to learn new land, new country, new family, and all that?
Well, every day you came home from school, we held you back a year in school. thinking that that would help you. And we had do you remember Mrs. I can't remember her
Mrs.
name.
Lee?
Mrs. Lee,
Uh-huh.
yes. She helped you at school.
Yes, I remember her.
Yes, and so she advised us to hold you back a year. So every day when you came home from school, you pushed every button in the house. Everything that would turn on something, the dishwasher, the TV, the radio, the phone, I mean everything, because you were fascinated with all the buttons and all the noises and all the stuff. You had never seen it. And I remember talking to your Korean sisters, and I told them that you were coming, and I was telling them that it would be hard for you, and that they'd have to help you and all that. And they said, one of them said to me, he doesn't even have a refrigerator? Because I was telling him you were in an orphanage and you were, poor, pretty poor. And they couldn't believe it. And that was the thing that they came up with, is that you didn't even have a refrigerator of your own. And so it was crazy time, but happy time.
Yeah, I did a lot of mistakes, and while I was, adjusting to new life, and I remember going to the bathroom the wrong way.
Yes.
And a lot of
Yes.
kids make fun of me, and
Yeah.
it was just embarrassing. But what do I know?
Right.
Yeah.
And the neighbor kids all taught you the bad words
Yes.
and thought it was very funny that you would
Yeah.
say them.
Yeah.
And you had no idea what they meant, or
Yeah, I got into a lot of troubles, didn't I?
yeah.
But
Well, not bad. You were pretty good,
yeah.
considering.
Yeah, I do remember getting into fights in school and just trying to adjust to new thing,
Yes.
and the school kids did not give me enough time to adjust, and I got just picked on all the time, just doing the
Yeah.
schools and stuff. But
You were a novelty.
yeah,
The naughtiest thing you ever did was when I had a doctor's appointment for you to be checked after you came, and you knew it, and I told you to hurry right home from school that we had to go to the doctor's, and you hid, and we couldn't find you. So that was the naughtiest thing that you did. And the funniest thing, one day when the first day you were home in our house, and it was late at night when the plane dropped us off. Anyway, I thought I was so nervous that you were going to fall out of bed. You wanted the top bunk. And I put the side up, and you said, I don't need that. And but I was so worried about you. And they told us that expect problems. And the next morning I woke up at 6:30, and you were in the kitchen, and you had gotten in the cupboard and got a bag of Doritos and a glass of milk, and you were watching cartoons. And I figured he's going to be okay.
yeah. But I'm glad that you guys are there to help me and to guide me, to help me progress the life, and without you guys, I don't know what would happen to me. It was just a lot of hardship in so many ways that I had to go through. Even for being almost 12 years old, coming over, and being a teenager,
Yes.
and it was not easy, for me to do that. And I just want to thank you guys for guiding me in all that. From the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank you, Mom, because I know Dad's not here with us, but you're here, and I just personally want to thank you for all the hard work, and basically give me a second chance, which I will not ever will get. which you allowed me to give me a second chance for the life, which now I'm with my wife and I have 3 kids, and all due to thanks to you, because you wanted the desire to bring someone, you know, to give them a family, a home, and other things that you want to give me the opportunity of.
Right. And
so for that, I just wanted to come over to you and give you a big hug for my gratitude. And I'm going over there right now, give her a hug.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And
you are so welcome.
So guys, I hope that you enjoyed this personal interview with my mom, and this is not easy to create a video like this. It's very touching and very emotional thing. And through this interview, I hope that you guys felt something in the warmth of my story to telling you guys. And if you want to share with other people, please do so. But if you like this channel and other things I produce and more story like this, please subscribe and leave a comment and do likes and all that stuff you do. And I appreciate watching this video, and see you next video. Bye. Mom, thank you so much.
You are so welcome. We loved you from the beginning. We loved you before you even knew it. So.
Oh, thank you.
What little did we know what we're getting.